So thank you for attending today. I'm going to be talking about the top resources for social work students and faculty members at FSU Libraries. This is really going to be almost a showcase where I'm going to be very quick talking about top resources, top databases, and eBooks that I think are really, really useful. And it's going to be a lot of information. So always feel like you can contact me if you have any questions, especially about if you're doing a specific project. I know that in a lot of social work research, you're doing interdisciplinary research. And so that requires knowledge of databases that really may not be social work databases. They may be in a totally different area. And I do go over some of those in this presentation, but it's always nice to feel like you can have a consultation if you're doing a research project that's a little out of your purview. So I am Lindsey Wharton. I'm the Distance Services Librarian, so that is kind of my main job at FSU Libraries, which really means that I work with online students and students at our extended campuses, making sure that they have access to library resources, library instruction sessions, and that they are provided a level of support even though they're off campus. But I am also the subject librarian for social work, so all librarians at FSU Libraries are given a major, a college, a department that really goes with their background and their interests, and so I am the subject librarian for social work, which means I work with the students, the faculty. I know kind of what's happening in the field of research. I know about the top resources, and I've never done a workshop like this before. So I've actually never done a top resources workshop, and I think that this probably is one of the most useful I can do, especially if you're a new student. And I know a lot of people, when they do research, they really depend on the same database. A lot of times, if you know PsycInfo, you're going to keep going back to PsycInfo. But the truth is that I tell people a lot of the time that you should try and always search in 2 or 3 different databases or more, depending on how the scope of your literature review. But that's going to allow you to pull up some different articles and be able to search in different ways. So let's get started. One thing that's happened is I have had an issue with Blackboard Collaborate today. So I am actually going to have to share my screen right now, and I'm going to share the PowerPoint with you, and we're going to go through it together. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the top library resources for social work students. So FSU Libraries has over 3 million print volumes, a lot of physical books still, and not all those books are in Stroger. We have them in our other libraries as well, and we also have remote storage, which is off campus, so we have a building just full of books that we can go and bring in if you need them. We have over 900,000 ebooks, over 1,000 databases, and access to over 100,000 journals. So as you can see, this is a massive amount of information, and it can feel a bit overwhelming. Know the best places to go, the best resources to use, and so I hope part of what I'm trying to do today is really provide you a guide of some of the best places for your research. So we're going to start out talking about databases. What are the top databases for social work research? And I mentioned it by name a couple minutes ago, PsycInfo. So PsycInfo is a ProQuest database, and it covers articles from 1887 to present, so a huge scope as far as year, and if you're looking for historical data, so you have journal articles, book chapters, books, technical reports, dissertations, and it's really focusing on psychology and the psychological aspects of related disciplines, and you do have links to full text in PsycInfo. So PsycInfo is a great one if you're looking for anything really psychology related, but it also crosses over into a more general social sciences field a lot of the time, so it's a great place to go for social work research. I use it all the time when I'm helping students look it up, especially disorders and different types of mental disorders or any type of that, and I find that it's a nice database to use alongside a more general social science database. And then when we're talking about a general social science database, this is the one that I would suggest you go to, and it's Social Sciences Full Text. So it's covering 350 core journals in the fields of anthropology, economics, geography, law, criminology, political science, social work, sociology, and international relations. One of the nice things about social sciences is because your research is interdisciplinary, a lot of the times you want to go to almost a more broad database because you're going to find articles that are in other areas that may pertain to your topic depending on your keywords and your phrases that you use. So social services abstracts. I like to think of this as the social work database. This is your database. It's really looking at social work, human services, social welfare, social policy, and community development. And it's from 1980 to present. And so it's not going to contain the full text. You're going to have to actually link to other full text articles. But FSU Libraries does make that a very seamless process. And if you are in a larger database like Academic Search Complete or like PsycInfo and you feel like you're getting too much unrelated information, go to Social Services Abstracts. Like I said, this is kind of the social work database. It's really looking at the journals that are right in your area. The Cochrane Library. So the Cochrane Library is actually more of a medical database, and I had never used this before I became the social work subject librarian. And the reason why I'm including it in this presentation is because it has a great collection of systematic reviews. Well, I didn't know what a systematic review was when I first became the social work subject librarian, and so I spent a lot of time trying to read through them, look at the content, so I could help graduate students especially figure out on their own what a systematic review is. So they have a really, really good collection of those, and you can see in my little screenshot I included here that I had selected the Cochrane reviews, and so it's just searching through systematic reviews, and you can search, of course, by keyword, title, any of that. CINAHL. So CINAHL plus with full text is the CINAHL database we have. It's another EBSCO database, but it's really a comprehensive research database that provides full text for nursing and allied health journals. It's probably the top nursing database we have, and it includes full-text evidence-based care sheets, which can be very useful for social work. And I've also noticed that a lot of social work research, you get into the nursing sort of background, or you need that health information, and you may not be familiar with some of the other health databases, and there are several that we have access to. So Medline, PubMed are some of the top ones as well. But I think CINAHL especially goes well with social work research. And so if you do have a health or allied health related research question, this is a great place to start. So ERIC. ERIC is an education-related database, and it has bibliographic access all the way back to 1966. So you have a lot of information for ERIC. If you are in the field of education, ERIC is probably your top database you're using. But I found that it's really, really helpful, especially if you're looking at anything about social work education, and so definitely probably social work theory as well. And if you have any sort of education-related research questions, ERIC is probably the best used. It's really comprehensive. It has tons of access to lots of journals, and it's a great one if you're looking for a little bit different spin, especially something about maybe social policy. Google Scholar. So I'm pretty sure that everyone is familiar with Google Scholar at this point. I use it a lot in my research, and it allows you to search through many disciplines and sources and use the friendly Google interface for your searching. But one thing you probably didn't know is if you use the link that's provided in FSU Libraries resources, so you can literally search Google Scholar in our list of databases, and it's going to take you to this link. So hopefully you see my arrow is pointing to the address, and it has the proxy.lib.fsu.edu. So what that allows you to do is actually access all of the information that FSU owns in Google Scholar, so you won't hit those paywalls anymore. Web of Science. I have to admit that I am a Web of Science convert. It's not something I used very often before I came to FSU, but now I really love Web of Science, and I think it's a great complement to some of the more specific databases because it includes Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index. It is a huge web of information. This is one of our most broad databases because I suggest it for people who are doing scientific research, but also I think it's really useful for social sciences. And it's really cross-disciplinary, and it allows for in-depth exploration of specialized subfields. So it actually searches a little bit different than other databases we talked about today, and that can be really useful if you're doing something that's really cross-disciplinary and you need to connect the research. Academic Search Complete. So this is our most popular database, and it is a scholarly collection that's unmatched full-text coverage of information in many areas of academic study. This is the database that I send almost every freshman to when we teach our ENC 2135 class. We introduce them to Academic Search Complete, but I think it is just as useful for graduate research as well, especially if you are trying to do preliminary research about your topic. Starting in a really broad database like Academic Search Complete can help you narrow down your search strings, think of different keywords, and then you can take what you've learned in this database to more subject-specific databases. So test and measures. This is something that I get a lot of questions about from social work students, and I wanted to go over 2 resources. So we have access to PsycTest, which is one of the options in APA PsycNet. And it's a database that provides access to non-commercial, unpublished psychological tests, measures, scales, surveys, and other assessments. And it's really going to be useful for you for developing tests and even looking at validity and reliability, which is, I know, something that you talk about a lot in your courses. And so APA PsycNet, the PsycTest offers you to browse by test name, by author, by year, or by instrument type, which I think is really useful as well. You can also find tests in PsycInfo. I would suggest always starting a search for a test and measure in PsycTest, but you can search through, that's one of the search fields that is offered by PsycInfo, and you can search in tests and measures, and you can see from my screenshot how to do that there. eBooks. So I mentioned before we have over 900,000 eBooks. I am not going to go through each and every one of those eBooks right now, but I did want to point out a few that I think are really generally useful, especially for graduate students. So we have an amazing access to the DSM-5, and I almost put this in databases actually because it's much more than just the book. You have the latest edition of the DSM, but you also have online assessment measures, the DSM-5 Handbook of Differential Diagnosis, and DSM-5 clinical cases. So this is really a mini database in its own, and it's a great resource available to you right through the library website. The Columbia Guide to Social Work Writing, I think this is an excellent resource that we have option to. It is an ebook, so you can access this right from your computer. You can actually read it on your phone or an e-reader. And a first-of-a-kind guide features top scholars and educators providing a much-needed introduction to social work writing and scholarship. And it provides an overview of social work writing from the 1880s to present, and really ideal strategies for academic paper writing, social work journal writing, and social work research writing. Really, really useful, especially if you're new to social work. Maybe you're just trying to figure out how to write your first paper or your first research paper. This is a great place. Or if you're thinking about trying to publish your first article. Sage Qualitative Research Methods is another really important book. It's a collection that includes research from the past 4 decades and addresses key issues or controversies such as explanations and defenses of qualitative methods, ethics research questions, and foreshadowed problems, access, and first aids into the field. I think that your first research project can be pretty intimidating. It was for me. I remember the first time I did a qualitative research and I felt really unprepared. And having a guide like this is an ebook as well, makes you feel much more supported, like you have the foundation to go ahead, work on your research. The Sage Handbook of International Social Work, it tackles the global, local aspect of social work in its various forms and interrogates the key concerns that societies are facing through an international lens. It's a really great kind of introduction to social work, gives you an idea about the issues. This is a lot of times the book that I suggest for social work students who are in the BSW program, because I think that it's really going to kind of give you a well-rounded look into your field. This is an ebook as well. So videos. More and more videos are becoming a really useful resource for research, and so I want to talk about a couple video options that we offer through FSU Libraries. Canopy Streaming is a brand new database FSU just acquired, and I really can't stress how awesome this is. Since I am Distance Librarian, I think a lot about media resources, making sure and give students the films they need, and this is a streaming video resource, which means you have access to it anytime from anywhere, right from your computer, signing in with FSU. And it's a collection of over 26,000 films on almost every subject, and it's not just sort of educational films, but you have films from the Criterion collection, from New Day Films, from PBS, BBC. So it's really, really high quality documentaries and films, and there's a lot of really good stuff in this collection. Films on Demand. So Films on Demand was our first educational video database, but there is actually a great family therapy section in Films on Demand. And once again, it's web-based, it's streaming, and you have access to thousands of high-quality educational titles in dozens of subject areas. So resources for APA citation style. We've talked a lot about databases and books, but you also want to remember that we are here to help you make sure you have the resources you need to properly cite your sources and so you can avoid plagiarism. We do, of course, carry copies of the APA Citation Style Manual, the latest 6th edition. We also have an ebook version of the APA Style Guide to Electronic References. So that ebook is available through our collection, and the physical style guide you can get from Dirac Library or Sturger Library. So why would you use a citation management tool? And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about next. And so you use a citation management tool for several reasons. One is it helps scholars create and manage lists of references for research projects. The tools are designed to organize citations into specific bibliographic formats, and tools integrate easily with library resources and allow references to be directly exported or downloaded into citation management tools. So what they do is they make the research process easier for you. A citation management tool is going to help you manage your citations when you're doing a lot of reading, a lot of research. I know it can feel overwhelming, and we sort of offer the support for these tools to help you learn them, if you ever have any problems, and you can always feel like that's something you can contact me about as well. So Zotero is the first tool I'm going to talk about, and it allows you to collect information, so grab research with a single click, organize your sources, compile, search, and sort all research in one place, cite your sources, so generate in-text citations and bibliographies, and sync your account so you can either use it on the web or you can have it as a browser plugin or a standalone version on your computer, so you can pick up where you left off on any device. and collaborate. You can work together and share your work with the world. So Zotero is free open source software created by George Washington University, I believe, and it's what I use for my research. I really love Zotero. RefWorks we offer a subscription through FSU Libraries, so it's a paid service, but we pay for you to have an account on RefWorks. And RefWorks is a web-based, so it's not like Zotero where it's actually you can work offline, but it makes it easy to access and manage research information online from many browsers. You can import references from diverse information sources, and you can generate and format bibliographies in any style. RefWorks works really well with the library databases, and this is something we support. We help you with your account, and it's available at no cost. And there's technically 2 versions of RefWorks available right now, and you can have the older version or the new version if you sign into RefWorks from our website. And if you're brand new at using RefWorks, I suggest you use the new one, but I always want you to think about what software works best for your needs, and once you get started with the software, just kind of stick with it, because then you'll become a real expert on it. So more services and support. I spent a lot of today talking about the top resources for you, but FSU Libraries is more than just books, ebooks, databases. The people, the services we offer are really a key, I think, to who we are as an institution and to the services I want to help you with as the social work subject librarian. So we offer various workshops. So I host general online workshops. I also do social work workshops like this one, for example, I'm doing right now. We have advanced researcher workshops that we do every semester. So this one was really interesting. We have ones on high impact publishing. We also do boot camps. So we had a boot camp for prospective writers. So really thinking about advanced research processes and feeling like you can go into FSU, meet your colleagues, and learn more about research and advanced topics. I have also created a number of social work LibGuides, and so I have a general social work LibGuide, and it really also is a great landing place because it gives you an overview of a lot of what we've talked about today, what are the top databases in your field. But I've also created more specific guides on domestic violence, family therapy, homelessness, mental health, obesity. These guides give you the top databases for that subject area, as well as tips about finding information. So you should always feel like these guides can be a good home, a good landing page, and a go-to place for you. And of course, FSU Libraries is people, librarians. And so we have 2 social work subject librarians. That's me on the left, Lindsey, and then we also have Kirsten Kinsley, who can also meet with you. So we offer services like research consultations. You can schedule a half hour, an hour with us to talk about your research. And we do library instruction sessions as well. So we will go visit classes and talk about different resources. I'll probably only have time to go over a couple of the databases, but it's a much more in-depth sort of look at the research process. And so always think of us as a resource to help you to get by. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back here, and actually this is the end of my presentation. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to leave the floor open for a second.